Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Is this being recorded, right?
I think so.
Well, I hope so. Always all be for naught.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's been recorded.
Yeah, okay. Anyway,
You want to change the
hello
title?
everyone, this is TNT. Yo, let me do the intro. God,
Uh,
rude. Hello everyone,
okay.
this is TNT Talk. Yeah, you're just gonna, are you done? You done, sir?
Yeah. I'm done.
Hello, every.
I think you want to.
No, let me do my
Well,
little intro.
there's nobody listed at the moment anyway. But like, I was gonna change
Yeah,
it
so
to.
I'm still gonna upload this later. I'm gonna upload this
Uh
later.
okay.
Hello
Well,
everyone, this is TNT Talk. You finished?
bro, like this is delayed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay. Hello everyone, this is TNT Talks. I mean, I had something really good, but I forgot it now. So I guess you have to start talking about, Jupiter's legacy or whatever.
Hashtag. Uh, I don't know. I hate hashtag stuff, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to set the like thing. Like I hate. I don't. I like back when I was back in school when people say hashtag, but I like being back in school when people used to say pound. The mathematical pound sign.
Yeah, man. I also miss that terrifying dial-up music that lets you know that you really connected to the internet, not this quiet, relaxed-ish.
Yeah, I know. Good old,
Like,
good old. You know what I mean? Like,
murder.
you know what I mean? Like, good old, like, classic. What was it? AOL.
AOL, man, that dial-up tone though.
AOL's
When
got
the
going
phone
on, man. I'm not
started
gonna lie.
ringing.
I mean, like AOL made it sound like he was traveling to the future.
In a very aggressive, uncomfortable fashion.
You know what I mean? And apart, the only thing that was missing was like the quantum leap visuals. You know?
Yo, I hope that this leap is the leap home. You know, he never got home,
Yeah.
right? He never get
Uh,
home.
so yes, he did, but then he had to go again
Oh, it's that
because when he
bullshit where they tease you a little bit, just a tip, and then they're like,
no.
nah.
So basically, he landed home, but then he landed. I think. But then he landed at the point in time um, where I think he landed just like. I think he landed home, but then he had to go again. But I think he landed home just at the point in time where he was about to travel, and so when it happened, but the big thing about I think it was, I'm pretty sure he landed home. I know that for sure. Like the storyline goes that he landed home, but then he had to continue going again, and then and then the show essentially never got renewed. So he's always forever like traveling.
Exactly, which means he didn't make it home, really. It's
Well,
like Dungeons
technically he
and
made it
Dragons
home.
all
He
over
just never.
again. The trauma.
Yeah, I mean, it's also. I mean, because it's also like Dungeons and Dragons, the cartoon. They never.
No, that's
The show
literally
got
just what I
cancelled, so they.
said. That's literally what I
Yeah.
just said. Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh.
Do you remember that one episode? We were watching late at night. Do you remember, Tony, years ago? That one episode, they finally made it home. And they come through the, what do you call it, the amusement park ride. And they're like, oh, we made it. And then obviously they're like, yo, if we don't go back, everyone's going to get legit murdered. So they had to go back. Man, the episode was heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, honestly, I wasn't. The cartoon was a bit bland for me, to be honest. I was very much like, they could. It was the 1980s, and then you had, and it was
What do you
the
mean it's the
cartoon came
80s? It
out
was
like
the 90s. How old are you, man?
the cartoon came out in the 1980s. That cartoon was solid 1980s, wasn't it?
Tony, I'm not gonna lie. When I look back at cartoons I watched as a kid, especially from like '95, maybe '92, like the cartoon's been around for a few years. I look back and as a kid, I'm like, how do they even understand what's going on? Was the '90s just one massive acid trip for kids?
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Well, to be fair, I wasn't that much conscious for in the 90s, was I? You know what I mean? Like you was a kid. You was a kid. So things were just happening, and you just didn't. And things were happening to you rather than you being aware of what was happening. You know what I mean? Like, and then you kind of reach a certain age, and it's like, oh, actually, I'm starting to understand that this is the world and it's actually pretty shit.
Yo, I'm rewatching House, and I'm on season 1 and I'm about to quit because I'm like, wow, House
Dude,
was incredibly sexist and racist. Like, I can't
dude,
believe years ago I watched the whole first season of him literally harassing the only black doctor who was like a neurosurgeon, like a brains, like, a brain doctor. That's like a legit doctor, right? And he's just harassing him constantly about him being black. I know it's one of those
I
jokes and House is meant to be insensitive, but it's like racist. Like, even Paige just come
honestly,
in and he's all like, oh, good Asian kid. I'm like, wow, okay, I was clearly high or stupid during this era.
I I'm not gonna lie. I saw an episode of House and I was just like, this is just a bit. I don't know. I never got what people saw in it. It was a whole
It's
lot of things.
basically like okay. The best way to describe it is pretty much Sherlock Holmes, except in a
Yeah, I
medical
know, man.
profession.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, I liked
let
it
me
for the
talk.
mystery
Let's talk
aspect.
about this
Aspect,
thing.
like what's gonna kill them.
What who cares? Let me talk about Jupiter's Legacy. So obviously, in terms of Jupiter's Legacy, it's a superhero movie. But it's a superhero movie. It's also an origin story at the same time.
I thought it was a
It's
TV show.
yes, sorry, TV show, not movie. Like eight
Yeah, it's
part
on
Netflix
Netflix,
TV
right?
show. Yeah. So it's a superhero TV series, eight episodes, origin story as well as and obviously legacy, meaning obviously their children at the same time, which is also interesting at the same time. So it's the comparison of the old age versus the new age, principles, ideas, beliefs, and everything. And you know, at first, and you're like, and obviously when you first watch the trailer, you're like, okay, you're thinking, okay, obviously this is gonna be relatively okay. This is Netflix answer to The Boys, the Amazon The Boys, because Amazon The Boys is just absolutely, it's good. You know what I mean? It's a pretty good show.
Oh, is it
Um,
dark then? Is it pretty dark and violent?
uh, yes, and
Maybe dark in
yes,
theme,
kind
but
of.
not necessarily in display.
Well, it's kind of it's a bit more. It's more of a question of it, or there's it's more of like, so The Boys straight away. What the world is just brutal. When you watch The Boys, their world is brutal because the heroes have set the tone of of the reality of that world, and the reality is it's brutal. You're talking. There's no qualms about killing people because
Oh
superheroes
yeah,
aren't
yeah.
superheroes aren't they're not even necessarily superheroes. In the world of The Boys, they claim as superheroes, but in reality, they're just vigilantes they're not fully trained, they're not fully they haven't gone through
Oh
a
yeah, they
kind of
make serious
process.
mistakes, don't they?
Yeah, that and also and they're treat and no and superheroes are essentially treated as celebrities. So it's better to have a superpowered celebrity who could relatively, if he was to do stuff, he can do really cool shit. And if he fucks up, we just tuck that under the rug, because if people like him enough, then he's worth the time. You know what I mean? Versus actually being superhero and just saving lives. You know what I mean? And in their world, there are no supervillains until essentially they created them. So anyway, so
Oh, okay.
Jupiter's Legacy. So spoiler alert, I'm not gonna lie, this is gonna be a lot of spoilers.
That's all right. I'm not gonna watch it.
Honest, Jupiter's Legacy, hands down. At first I was like, okay, it's gonna be it's Netflix answers to The Boys, but it's not the same. It's definitely different. It's not the same. It's very much back to the classic it's back to the classic tropes of good versus evil. The bad guy. There is a bad guy. Da 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 da. And but it also talks about. But it looks at what happens when a superhero. What happens when an average man becomes worthy of gaining the power of a god, and then uses that power altruistically in the correct way for over 90 years. and as times change, he still sticks to his principles. He still delivers on his promises. But at the end of the day, his code is that they do not govern, they do not govern, and they do not interfere in wars
Interfere
and
with
things.
society.
They do not govern society. They do not, and they are not outspoken in terms of their beliefs or anything like that. That is
Oh,
not their
like political
place.
beliefs. So they just stay in their lane, pretty much. They don't want to
Yeah,
influence the
essentially,
public.
yeah,
They come, they save you, you're good. After that, the people deal with it.
because and they don't kill people. That was the
Oh,
code
wow,
of the
yeah.
of the
So does it
that
have
was the
more?
code.
Does it have more of
Sorry.
a sorry, I just wanted to say, does it have more of a kind of like after the golden age type of vibe about it? You know, like how Naruto was like the golden age and then Boruto was like the next generation. Does it kind of have
Yeah,
like that
that
whole
is
overhanging,
because
this
it's
was the
about
golden
the
age and now there's another generation?
yes, because it was all about because so Jupiter's legacy. So if I was to boil it down, it's the passing age, it's the passing of the baton to the next generation. So what essentially happens is two brothers alive in 1929. Their father dies, and one brother receives a call, receives a visions from something beyond the universe. You know, like just visions. He
Okay.
thinks he's crazy. The younger brother, much more. He's the typical hero type. You know what I mean? He's the typical brute hero. Like there's no brains. He doesn't think in terms of like how you would look at every kind of normal type superhero like Superman. I mean, to be fair, Superman actually has a brain. He's actually probably the only one that you really relatively look like. But the Superman,
Okay, but
the
like
superhero.
he represents the classic superhero where,
Yeah,
he has a good heart, but he's not the smartest tool in the shed, whereas the other brother
yeah,
represents, the modern
yeah. He believes
superhero,
in
whereas you
good
need to have
justice
something
and
between the ears.
you know what I mean. He believes in good justice and all that jazz, right? And he doesn't, because he's basically the most powerful. He's the one, and he's also as you see, he's like that person that everybody follows because he is who he is.
Okay, right.
Like
He sets the tone.
he's the like he's one of those people where even without his abilities, everybody loves him.
Oh, okay. Wait, is this the dumb brother or the smart one?
The younger dumb brother.
Oh, right. I don't know. I feel like that's such American writing that people just love like
Yeah,
a dumb, good-hearted person. I feel like sometimes there's this this undercurrent in American culture of anti-intellectualism. Like you can't be a good person and intelligent at the same time. And I guess that's
I
kind of true because the truth of the matter is the smarter and more wise you become, the more you realize that the world is grey and people are broken up into blotches of white, black, and grey. It's never that
very
simple. So you can never look at
yes,
the
but
world that way. You can never be a
yes,
quote unquote
but it's
good
all
person.
okay. But
But
you
it's just so
also, but
annoying.
here's the context of what you're taking out of. You're taking out of the context is that they were alive. They were like 30 years old in 1929. This was when they were still regular human beings, and also the fact that and I think the idea behind is also like the British person. What not the British person. The everybody loves that. The American golden boy, who's with the simplistic views on life because everything has always been
Yeah,
given to him. It's
yeah. But
it's the whole
that just
it's the whole thing of like wealth, privilege, and beauty. Wealth, beauty, and
yeah,
privilege
yeah,
gives you all that kind of advantage in life that you don't. That you
yeah.
just think the world is either good or bad because you've lived it. Because you've always lived in the living life in the easy mode. You know what I
Basically
mean?
lived in
You don't have.
privilege.
You know what
You've
I
never
mean?
had to deal with the hard questions or make hard decisions in a grey world.
Yeah, and then his
Yeah, but
father kills him.
that's
Anyway,
anti-intelligent. That's anti-intelligence, and it's also kind of like
I I think
pro-privilege. Even though
I
like
think that
how can I say okay? What can I say one thing? Like how I don't understand why so many people love a person like that when like anywhere in the world, like 90% of the population, absolutely positively doesn't even live like that. How can you have a hero out there
because
representing you like that
because
when they don't even understand how you feel as a person? They don't even understand the average human being. Like, it's a joke.
because it's not about not feeling the average person. It's more the idea that the intelligent person, the intelligent